Hey there! I was lent this pen by Joost Appelboom. This is a Gioia. I've reviewed Gioia before. It is an Alleria. This is the Tramonto finish. I thought, isn't that sunset? I didn't check that. I'm sorry. Correct me, please. Nice pen, relatively affordable, at about $160 I see online. I know that it's not super cheap, but it is an Italian pen. They do make them by hand. It's a company based in Naples, and typically with these pens in this kind of segment, you tend to pay more. Like Italian pen, handmade, you can pay quite a bit more. It's a piston-filled pen. It has, in this case, an extra fine nib, which is certainly interesting. We'll get to that. And nice, I'll cover the parts of the pen. I'll do a writing sample. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Let's get started. Let's have a look at the Gioia Alleria Tramonto. Comes in this box, which has a nice cardboard outer sleeve and a piece of elastic that just came out. It's very shiny. You can see me. Whoa! Okay, let's stop that. It looks like you can look up my nose. It's very disturbing. Anyway, this comes off. Then you have this box, which is very reminiscent of certain old Delta boxes or the current Mayora boxes. And here we have the actual pen. This is a pen. It is the pen. It's the Tramonto, right next to the Alleria, but the Tramonto finish next to a Pilot Metropolitan. So a fairly girthy pen. It is about $160 from what I can tell online. It is piston filled. I say from what I can tell online, this particular finish I couldn't find at Appelboom anymore. That's why I said online. He does have other finishes, and of course you can get a 10% discount by clicking the banner on my website. It's piston filled. It has extra fine or medium nibs as well as a stub. The company is based in Naples. It makes these pens by hand. They're certainly fun pens to play around with. I have the feeling I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I have reviewed another Alleria, so then I always feel that I'm repeating myself, so I'll try not to take up too much time. We have the finial, which is very shiny and reflective. We have this interestingly shaped clip, which works pretty well. It also feels like something I could bend out of shape, so I'm a little careful with that. 2 gold rings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gold rings in total. We have this material, which I think is really quite nice. Here's an engraving that says Gioia Alleria. This is number 017, and this is a piston turning knob. And this particular pen, I'll come back to likes and dislikes. It's almost impossible to operate the piston. It's so incredibly stiff. I need 2 hands to do it. I don't think that's necessarily representative of these pens. If you've had issues like that, please leave a comment below. Also, if you own this pen, you have not had that issue, because it's good for people to know. I only have access to one, so please chip in. Okay, you uncap the pen, you get a number 6 steel nib, looks like Jovo. This one, it says Gioia Italia, and it has an extra fine nib, a plastic feed, and it's a pretty comfortable pen. Long section with threads near the end of the cap. The beauty of that is you don't feel the threads as you hold it. The downside is it tends to collect ink when you dip it in a bottle to ink it up. I can't open this up because it's piston filler. It's not a cartridge converter filled pen. What I can tell you is that it posts very securely. It becomes very long, as you can see here, but if you really like to post your pens, then you certainly can do that. And with that, I think we have come to the point we've all been waiting for. Let's have a look at the writing sample. Now bear in mind, it is an extra fine nib, and extra fine nibs are what the name suggests, and in this case that is not a lie. So we have the Gioia Alleria. This is the Tramonto, but I'll leave that out. It is an extra fine stainless steel nib. I don't think I said that, but it's stainless steel. And this is Ackerman Delfts Blau. If this nib sounds scratchy, that's because it is. I would love to say this is feedback, but this is downright scratch. It is a very fine nib, so the extra fine is truly an extra fine. If you like such a thing, if you're an artist, or you have very small handwriting, or you just really like fine nibs to begin with, you could do a lot worse than get this, because it is very, very fine. The problem for me is there's almost no tipping on this, and it is scratchy, and I really don't like that sensation. But of course, had I purchased this, I would have purchased it as a stub or as a medium nib. So that's very personal and not meant as a criticism of the pen. I'm just saying, if you purchase this with an extra fine, maybe expect some serious feedback. You can tell that if I push down a bit on it, you can certainly get some line variation out of it. Be very careful, it's not advertised as a flex nib, but then it also becomes a bit wetter and I think more pleasant to use. So if this were my pen, I'd probably try to make the nib a little bit wetter, or have it made wetter, and you would still have a fine nib, but it would be, very fine, so an extra fine nib, but it would be a little wetter. That would provide a bit more lubrication as you write, and as a result you don't get that really pronounced scratchy feel, because with this wetness it feels a lot smoother. So I'm just saying. Reverse writing, typically done to make a nib finer, not really an option here, but you start off with something that is already very, very fine. So I don't think it's really necessary to do that with this nib. I think the time has come to discuss likes and dislikes for this pen, the Gioia. Let's do that. Okay, so what do I like, what do I not like about this Gioia? It's a larger pen and it's quite comfortable. The section is really quite long. I find that very comfortable. I find it comfortable to hold, comfortable to use, and it posts very securely if you like to post your pens. Pen becomes very long, but it is certainly possible to post the whole thing, which I think is very nice. Nice color too. I mean, I think the finish is nice. It looks pretty cool. So I like all that. Things I don't like about it so much. There are a couple of things. The first thing is, for a piston filler, it has no ink window of any kind. You don't really know how much ink you have left. My two bigger issues are, one, the threads are at the end of the section. That does make for nothing sharp on this end, which is nice, but ink can get stuck in there if you dip the pen in a bottle of ink. So make sure you clean that well, otherwise you'll get ink on your fingers. My biggest issue was this piston is almost unusable. And this could be this single pen. I have used an Alleria before, but in this case, I need two hands to honestly operate the piston like this, because it is so incredibly stiff. I don't know what happened, excuse me, but that's not normal. So I've told Joost I'll be sending this back, he'll have to get it serviced. I was unable to remove the nib. I think I could pull the nib and feed out, but the collar, I can't get the nib collar out, so I can't lubricate the piston. And I mean, you really should not have to operate a pen with this amount of strength, and I'm not exaggerating, to get the piston to operate. So that's an issue. Could be just this pen. If you're considering purchasing one of these, I would certainly reach out to the pen store you want to purchase it and ask them to try out the piston for you before they ship it to you, if it is an online store. If it is a brick and mortar store, you can of course try it out for yourself, but I would take that step, because I am a little concerned. I think it may just be this particular pen, but if it happens to one, it can happen to more. So I just want to point that out. That's the point of doing a review, isn't it? I hope this was useful. A very kind thank you to Joost for lending me the pen. I appreciate it. It's coming back to you. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this pen's particular finish, and let me know if Tramonto really means sunrise or sunset. Because I think there's a track on one of the spaghetti western soundtracks called Tramonto, Il Tramonto. Ennio Morricone, the great master. And I thought that was the sunset. Anyway, someone speaks Italian. You pointed out to me. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. As always, I really appreciate your viewership. Without you, the videos would not exist. So, thank you. Hope this was useful, and glad to see you later in it. Bye!